I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show!
Good morning! Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Thursday to all across the Delaware Valley. This is the Anthony Gargano Show. We're brought to you by Rite Aid. Get all of your favorite goods and all your scripts, allergy medication, all at Rite Aid. Go to riteaid.com. Well, the Phillies mercifully are on their way to the West Coast. They had the getaway game yesterday, which, again, did not go well. Phillies swept by the Yankees. They lost 5 straight series. And everybody talking about free falling. I told you about my buddy Toots sending me the Tom Petty free falling the other night. It continued yesterday. I thought they would break out of it yesterday, and they did not. And the worries continue. And I'll tell you this. It's not going to get pretty. This 10-game road trip is really difficult. You're in Seattle. They got better, Seattle. They have really good pitching. And then it's on the way to the Dodgers. Dodgers have revenge on their mind after the Phils swept them. And then Arizona, who's playing better as well. So you got a tough road trip. I don't know. I'm hoping that, somehow you get, it's not a colossal kind of road trip where you go, 3 wins, right? Like, you got to hope that you can start getting better. Maybe getting away from Philadelphia will get them kind of going. My guess is the funk will continue for another 2 weeks. But I don't think it's the end of the world. I said kickoff is my barometer. What I'd like to see is somehow you play a little bit better, at least get through this stretch, and it's not devastating. And then you get home, and then you start to kick it in. I think Harper needs to play. I think Bryce is scuffling right now in a big slump. Harper gets hot. At some point, Harper gets hot, and I think that's the difference, right? I think that'll be kind of the thing that kickstarts them. There's a couple guys. Harper, JT is another one. If those guys start to hit a little bit, start to get hot, I think that jolts them out of this funk that they're in. I'm going to keep telling you every day until kickoff happens, and that just to chill, because I know everybody is upset right now. Everybody's angst. I was at the doctor yesterday. I saw Dr. Mike. You might know him from Fox 29, Good Day Philadelphia. Dr. Mike, he's taking my blood pressure, and he says, 120 over 80. It's a miracle. It's like the Phillies winning a game. They've become the butt of a joke. This is still a great ball club. I still believe in them. You're going to have to get through the next 2 weeks, all right? And then our fragile psyche as Philadelphia sports fans will be put through the ringer. And then hopefully it's when the snap out comes. That's how these seasons are, right? They're never in a straight line. They're always up and down, peaks and valleys. That's how the chart of the season goes. And I just think right now it's a big dip. They should be able to get out of it. The only thing that scares me, and we talked about it yesterday, was these other teams getting better, and they have gotten better. So we'll discuss that today. Also, today's the open practice for the Birds. Lincoln Financial Field. Tonight, we get a chance to see the open practice. And every time this comes about, like the open practice and training camp, my mind starts to wander. And I start to think about Lehigh. And I start to think about how much fun it was for fans. Training camp has taken a big hit since they've just stayed at the NovaCare facility, thanks to Chip Kelly. When they would go to Lehigh, every day there were new people coming up, right? Everybody, hey, let's take off of work today. Let's get the kids out, right? And I miss it. I know it's easier at the NovaCare facility. I get it. I miss Lehigh. I miss it for the fans. I miss it for the excitement to drum up to start the season. I know all your medical stuff, all your equipment, everything's here, and I get it. But I think it's a big loss. I do. And, maybe not from the football standpoint, but certainly from the fan experience, nothing was like Lehigh. You felt close to the players. You felt like you kind of were a part of it. So I miss it. I miss it in a big way. But tonight is the open practice. We got Bo Wolf, who from our all PHLY Eagles show, our daily training camp report. He'll be up first. The brain, Kevin Negandhi, our hometown hero from ESPN. And then we start fantasy football time. The Geek, if you remember, my fantasy football expert will join us beginning his time. We'll help you with your drafts. A little draft primer for fantasy football. That's with the Geek. He'll be on at 10:30, so you can take notes for that. So lots to get to. This is the Anthony Gargano Show presented by Rite Aid. Now, my main man, my cohort, VG, Violations Greg.
Go Phils.
What are you doing to me?
I'm feeling good, man. Getting out of town is just what they needed. Reminds me of a song by Coconut Records. Oh, Jason Schwartzman. You remember that guy?
Yeah.
He's like a writer, actor.
Yeah,
He's in like 7 bands. He's in a band, Coconut Records. They got a song called West Coast. I miss you going back home to the West Coast.
Oh, really? Jason Schwartzman sings that, really?
Yeah. He plays drums and sings it.
Oh,
But let's get us to the West Coast. Let's get them out of the area. Get them away from their families. Get them away from Haddonfield, their girlfriends, all of it. They're going to be good.
Who are you?
I'm VG, man. Mr. Optimism. Mr. Optimism.
I did not expect this. In fact, I was fretting today.
Oh, yeah?
All right? Because I figured you would be even more morose. You would be John Morosi about this club, and you're saying what?
Yeah, man. I had to sit back and just analyze what's happening right now.
You took a gummy?
I did not. I just had to analyze it. I'm thinking, what's going on in this world? He's got 47 kids. He's trying to get back off an injury. Rangers family's up here for the first time in forever. Got him a little bugged out, maybe. Stott's got a new baby. Bohm's got the girlfriend. Marsh is feeling on an island all alone. Get them out to the West Coast, little bonding. Play little cards on the plane. They probably got in town early enough last night to go out to get a dinner. They bond all day, go to some museums in Seattle, go to the zoo or something. Yeah. They're going to be good.
Bohm and Stott
get their head right.
Are going to the museum today.
Yeah. The Hustler Museum. They need some dude time.
Here's the problem, right? I agree with that. I do sometimes think it's better to get on the road, and sometimes you get back on the road, you feel so much better. We talk about Citizens Bank Park all the time and how incredible the environment is. The one detriment is when you're not playing well, there's a packed house. There's a pressure that's just there in the stands. There's a murmur. And that murmur that's there, that angst. And you could feel it. You could feel the great energy when things are going well, and you could feel the angst when it's not.
And Bryce personifies it. You can feel his angst, man. It's like him in the crowd.
He's scuffling.
He's a mess right now.
Yeah.
He's missing hangers. He's missing 92 mile per hour fastballs right down the plate. Like, he's got to get his head right.
But isn't that, I keep saying about, and I know it's a cliche, it's baseball, it's baseball thing. But that is like guys go through slumps. Like, that's what happens. You can't go a whole season without a dramatic.
When the whole team's slumping, it's hard. It is hard to deal with. You expect them to slump. And I feel bad for Castellanos because the team was rolling and he sucked. And now he's actually on fire, and the whole team slumps around him.
I know.
The guy can't catch a break. He just wants to win and be part of it.
Yeah. Well, No, I hear you. JT has got to get going too because he's an important part of this whole thing. When JT is hitting, because you remember last year, both years, last year and the year before, he had periods where he was torrid and he carried you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was taking some shrapnel in the chat room because I was calling out JT the other day. But yeah, he's got to get it right. They need better. He's not a 245 hitter. They need more out of him.
Yeah.
They just have to.
Yeah. My only thing is I do not expect them to get out of it during this road trip.
I feel good. We're in the town of grunge. Maybe go to a little Jimi Hendrix museum. Recreational is out there. They can do some gummies. Put on some old school Nirvana and Soundgarden. Get their heads right. Yeah, man. Yeah. Find themselves. Find their souls in the land of grunge.
Seattle got better. All right.
Yes, they got significantly better because
Arozarena.
They had one of the best pitching staffs and they couldn't hit, and now they added a couple bats.
Arozarena and from Tampa, and Justin Turner from the Blue Jays.
Yes.
So they got two big right-handed bats. They got some lefties. So their offense got better, and you said it, they have incredible pitching. And then you got the Dodgers. And how do you think the Dodgers are going to look at this series? They got it circled after getting swept in Philadelphia.
Oh, we swept them. The Padres have beaten up on them a little bit, so they're a little irritated with that. So, yeah, the Dodgers are going to be fired up and ready to go. Arizona, we owe Arizona. So I'm fine with that. I'm not worried about this Arizona trip. We owe them. I feel like the Phillies have had that circled forever. So Arizona, they're going to get right against Seattle. I believe it. I feel it.
All right. Well,
and I have to because the temperature out there, I'm at the pub. The bartender, he's like, we're one and done. They're lucky they win one series. They got no relief pit. Their bullpen sucks. They got two starters and they can't hit. It's like, I was like, they're still the second favorite to win the World Series. Vegas are a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, well, remember, though, this is how we react to it. I told you, my doctor is like a miracle if the Phillies win. Like, he's using the Phillies as the butt of the joke next to my health.
we got people, LB in the chat rooms going, Logan O'Hoppe, regretting this trade now. JP's struggling. Marks is okay.
You can't go O'Hoppe. Come on, brother. JT, come on. No.
They need a couple nice dinners. Some grunge music. They're good. This is it. Seattle's going to be the land where they get right.
The bonding. I don't disagree with you about being on the road and the bonding.
Family and these kids are a lot of stress. They just get to breathe now.
Right. At home, it's a lot. Bryce has young kids.
Yeah, I know how busy you are, and these guys are like running around going to T-ball games, little league games, and they got hot girlfriends. They got to bump around town and stuff.
And remember, right, like. That nowadays, like back in the day, the ball players, like those guys, they weren't as involved dads as they are now.
No.
Like these guys, God bless them. They're like involved dads.
These guys are at these little league games.
The back in the day, there was don't bother me during the season.
I'll see you in November.
Right. Like that's how it was.
Yeah.
But it was like that for that was the culture.
Sometimes the family was in another city.
Right. That was the culture, right? Like, they didn't move. Half of them stayed wherever they did. Right. And those guys it was complete focus on the game. It's changed this way.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about training camp because tonight is the open practice.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you. I get nothing from that open practice. Truthfully, I think it's for bogus.
We're old, Here we go. Here's what I'll say. When we were growing up, Westchester, Lehigh, that was like training camp at the Palestra. And now it's like Disney World. It's just a show. It's nothing. There's nothing real about it.
There's no connection to it. But it's not about being old in the sense that, they've been at NovaCare for, 10 years? Not even?
Yeah.
Right? Lehigh... You got to go back to the end of Andy. So that's about 10 years ago. It's not like it's ancient history. The shame is when you were at Lehigh, you felt close to the team. Like you could drive up, you made a day of it, and it felt like you were there, like you got next to them.
You get a high five, you know, as they walk off the field.
They would have, you know, guys signing autographs.
Yeah.
After every practice, there was like 4 or 5 guys that would sign autographs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was a cool thing. Now, being at Lincoln Financial Field, you are so removed.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like, you can't. What do you glean from that? It is a show.
I mean, they do. I've been lucky enough to have people bring me to training camp at NovaCare, and it is a good, fun day, but it's all corporate business people or people. Like, the only way I go is because I have a friend in the corporate world who's like, yo, come on, I have a couple. And
I'm
that's
not talking about those other practices.
But yeah, like that's what, it's still going on, but it's for select people.
Right.
And
no,
like,
I'm talking about when it was for real Eagle fans.
It was amazing.
And, you know, you'd have to walk through. Listen, they were able to make money because they had that huge tent
there was
area.
merch everywhere.
Right. So you could buy all your Eagle stuff. That was the way that you had to walk through the tent to get to the field.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which was great.
People, you'd be in your car an hour on that road at Lehigh trying to get up to the camp.
Dude, my favorite training camp story is the year of TO. And it was gridlock, right? So I was doing a show. Steve Monterano and I are doing a show. We left plenty of time. We were stuck in this traffic, and the show was on at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
We were stuck in this traffic for close to 2 hours. We get there, it's like 10:55.
You were like 55 minutes late for the show?
And you know who was later than me?
No.
Andy Reid. They were trying to get to him for a police escort.
Yeah.
But they couldn't. He was in the middle of this like snarled traffic up in Lehigh. It was that Andy Reid was late for practice.
Yeah.
That's how
they
crazy.
They could have just rent helicopters for the coaches, but no, they had to move it all down to NovaCare now. Like, they could have just kept it there, and I get it. But Andy Reid helicopter them in and out. There's giant fields.
Right.
I don't know. It's a little irritating. It just feels
it loses its charm.
There's nothing to it. And I get it. It's a big day for people. It's a free night. It's free to get in. You're going to spend a lot on merch. You're going to spend a lot on concessions. But if like you can't afford season tickets or you can't get season tickets, it's a big deal to take your kids down. They see a practice and stuff. But I don't know. I feel like they could do better by the fans a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know what you do because you can't have open practice at the NovaCare facility.
Yeah, I'm sorry. James Bond flyer says Andy Reid wouldn't fit in a helicopter.
We are in this early mood, man. We are. The Phillies got us nasty. We got Andy Reid jokes. We got Logan O'Hoppe. Oh my God!
People are like, "This is a collapse. This isn't a slump. It's a collapse." The Phils are Mike Lewis. Phils are cooked. Be honest.
I don't feel that way. It's
cooked.
I mean, listen. Could it work out that they're cooked? Yeah. I mean, but I don't feel that way. It's legitimately. It's August 1st. Yeah. It's August 1st. We've turned the page to August. You got a big month ahead of you. You still got 2 full months before the playoffs begin. 2 months. That's an eternity. It's 38% of the season.
But it's
left.
hard, man. When you're like, if you're on social media, it's hard. Our friend Bob Nightingale. Since the All-Star game, White Sox 0-13, Red Sox 4-8, Phils 3-9. You just get, it's like information after information. Bryce Harper 0 for his last 74 at bats. It's like everywhere you look, you're getting these nuggets of information. It's hard.
Again, but you got to divorce yourself from like the inside moment. Like again, that's what slumps are. That's what losing streaks are. That again happens all the time. Like this isn't our first baseball season.
I feel, but we are a manic city.
Oh, manic to the nth degree. We're manic,
right? So we were so high, they were so good, and we were so high on this.
But intellectually, now we knew that you can't continue.
Now they're just like slightly below 500, but it feels like they're 0-32 right now.
Well, you said 3-9.
Yeah, but it feels way worse than that.
Yeah,
but it's like these ups and downs, and that's just the way we roll. I mean, I bet you we talked to Bro today. Bro says it over. I mean, he's as manic as it gets.
Yeah, and we are manic, and that's not good.
No,
it's not good.
It's not good for that blood pressure.
It's not good for anything. Like,
yeah.
because you can't see the forest through the trees. You can't see what that you're 2 months away from the playoffs. Like, you can't really. All kidding aside, I get like gallows humor, and we make jokes, and then break balls, and that's who we are. But you can't sit here and tell me they're cooked. I'm sorry. I don't believe it.
Mike Ray from Philly agrees with Mike. This is not just a slump. This is close to a collapse.
It's not a collapse. Come on, Mike. It's not. You can't tell me. It's August 1st. It's August 1st. Listen, it's only going to get worse, too, because I don't believe that the West Coast is going to heal them. I believe it's going to take a couple weeks for them to kind of shake this thing.
I don't know. Don't you? When you get to the West Coast, you don't feel good. It's like the air there's nice. The weather's better.
Yeah.
It's like rejuvenation. It's like going to Nirvana, and now they're in Seattle. They're home in Nirvana. It's like going to be good.
Home in Nirvana. You got Kurt Cobain on the head.
Yeah, man.
Nah, man, dude. Look at the baseball piece of it. You just swept the Dodgers. You got to play the Dodgers in revenge.
Yeah, they'll go 1-2 against the Dodgers. They'll go 2-1 against Seattle. Split with Arizona. Arizona. It was like $500 ball.
Listen, if you can go 500, great.
Yeah, you come back feeling good.
I don't think they're going to go 500.
Well, now I got to talk you off the.
I'm not, but I'm being realistic.
500 ball. You think they go
4-6?
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think they're 4-6.
Damn. If he's at 4-6, we're in trouble.
No, but again, they could go 4-6, 3-7, and I'm not going to say that this is the end of the world. I don't believe it, because sometime around the middle of August, they're going to start to play better, and then all of a sudden they're going to start racking up wins, and they're going to start hitting the ball. Bryce will shake out of the slump. JT will start hitting the ball, and the next thing you know, they're going to be back.
Matt Decker, he says it's been 2 months. He doesn't get people calling it a slump. Has it been 2 months?
No, it's not 2 months.
It's been since London. When was London? Mid-June?
Yeah, they haven't played great ball after. They swept the Dodgers. Remember, like, Matt, they swept the Dodgers. Like, it's not like they haven't been playing good ball. They swept the Dodgers. They've lost it's the last 5 series that the bottom has fallen out. It's Oakland before the break, and then it was Cleveland? Who was Pittsburgh, Cleveland? And
I mean, in that time they lost JT for a bit. They've had some pitcher injuries.
Yeah, you guys are I'm telling you, this is baseball. Go back and look at all these teams that win. It's baseball. I'm not saying that it's impossible that they're going to fall off the team. I just don't believe it.
Hey, can I just say, just off Phillies for a second? God bless Steve Kerr. Keep our man healthy. Bench Embiid, I don't want to see him play at all. Just keep the kid healthy. Great move by Steve Kerr yesterday.
Listen, that's not going well, man.
It's going well for his knees.
Yeah, that's not going well, dude. I got to tell you, he looks horrendous. Like, he looks horrific.
Well, how do you even know what he looks like? He's not playing.
No, but what he like? Think about it. How bad he is. He's not in shape. The rules don't fit him. He's like that's an embarrassment, really.
Oh, I mean, Tatum got benched. Tatum didn't play the one game.
Yeah,
it's not an embarrassment.
Dude, yes, it is.
Keeping them fresh for us.
You are, and that I get.
Nice work, Steve.
You know, I get that. All right, coming up, we got our training camp report. Bo Wolf will join us from our All PHLY Eagles show with Zach Berman. But let me tell you about Ace Hardware. Ace is the place. I love Ace Hardware. You got a leaky pipe at Ace Hardware Home Services. We're around the block with everything you need to fix it, including the person to do the fixing. All right? You got an air conditioning issue? We got a person for that. I'm in the middle of doing that. Faucet that you said that you'd fix last fall? Ace is the place to get that person to. Because now we're not just the helpful hardware folks. We're also the helpful home service and repair folks. I love this because not only I always love the Ace. I go to Ace is the place for anything you need, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So now you got Ace. They got a home service, home repair. This is great. From plumbing to heating, cooling, we've got the trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services. We're bringing helpful home. That's right. Now, helpful you love from the store now to your front door. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get you started on your next project. Again, Ace is the place we bring helpful to your home. You can spend more of your time on the projects that really matter. Ace is the place, baby. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online, acehardwarehomeservices.com to get you started on your next project.
Great jingle, too. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware.
I love it.
Yeah, I do.
I do. I love it.
I like the jingle.
It's a great jingle.
Yeah.
Ace, I don't know what it is about
it, I start singing it.
About the hardware store. Like Ace, I like the hardware store.
And I like a hardware store where you can ask and get advice.
And
this doesn't happen at the big stores anymore, really.
Listen, why would I know?
I don't know anything when I walk in there.
My God.
I'm hoping to find someone who knows, like an old head who looks like they know what they're talking about.
Right, you got it with Rite Aid.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of Rite Aid, if you got allergies, and who doesn't at this point, Rite Aid is your place. But what causes allergies? You know, pollen from trees, grasses, weeds. I'm a big one with the ragweeds up this week. It's been bugging me. I'm on my Allegra this morning. Symptoms flare when pollen and allergens hit the air, and it's possible to be allergic to one or several types. What are the symptoms? Well, itchy, red, swollen, watery eyes, sneezing, nasal congestion, runny nose.
What are the symptoms?
Just look at Anthony.
Look, give me a close-up. This is the symptoms of allergies.
Scratchy throat, coughing, brain fog, itchy nose, skin or eyes.
My whole eyes and nose is like out to here.
Headaches, cough, dark circles under your eyes. So what do you do to get relief? Well, you can start by signing up for Rite Aid Rewards emails at riteaid.com/rewards to receive emailed pollen alerts. And if you get these alerts, then you stay inside, take your meds, run your air conditioning, take a shower before bed so you're not sleeping in all these allergens. And they got a ton of over-the-counter options available at your local Rite Aid. Try a nasal rinse to flush out your nasal passages. And when symptoms are flaring up or when you know the pollen counts are high, you can try antihistamines such as Claritin or Zyrtec or Allegra or the Rite Aid brands. They're just as good, slightly cheaper. And ideally, you want to get them in your system 1 or 2 weeks before allergy season. You can also try the nasal corticosteroids like Flonase and Nasacort. And they also have the Rite Aid brand nasal sprays. So still not getting enough relief. Rite Aid pharmacists are there to answer your questions. You can always ask them for recommendations on ways to get relief during allergy season. Visit your local Rite Aid today. Stock up on allergy relief or catch up on immunizations for that RSV, shingles, and more. Walk in or schedule a vaccine appointment at riteaid.com.
All right, buddy. All right, now let's go to our training camp report.
Ooh.
Yes, we love it. All PHLY Eagles show.
He's on sidelines.
Bo Wolf. No, the practice is tonight.
Still, can we got to get like a
Bo's not going to be at the Novacare.
No, you could put in like a little Google background on like a sideline background behind him.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
You want to do the virtual background?
Yeah, that would be
good. There's Bo for the 50-yard line.
Yeah,
I can see it. What do you think,
I'm
Bo?
glad
You want to do
VG
that?
said it though, because you guys are doing the reads and I'm sitting here in my basement just singing the Ace jingle to myself. It's
contagious, man.
This is the place with the helpful hardware.
Banger,
It's perfect.
I mean, it's gonna be in my head all day long.
So the open practice is tonight. It has me pining for Lehigh, my friend. I miss it. Every time this practice comes around, I always think about Lehigh and how much better it was.
It's not, and the thing that you're going to see tonight for the people who go, like I hope you go. That it'll be nice to watch the team. It's your only chance all summer, but it's not the same. They're on one field. They don't have as much space to do the stuff that they would normally do in practice. Also, there was a soccer game at the Link last night, so I don't think they're going to be trusting the field a ton. Like, you're not going to see the best action. In addition to, like, not getting as up close as you could get every single day at Lehigh, it went from, 4 open practices to 3 to 2, and now there's just one, and it's not going to be great action. So, I think I understand why the Eagles do it this way now, it is probably in better service of the regular season product. But there's no doubt that it's not as good for the fans.
Yeah, yeah. And like, it's hard, even for them, it's hard to accomplish at the link what you want to do because you just don't have, you mentioned the field space, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, at practice, they've got 3 fields to use.
Yeah.
So when you're at the link, you've got to split the field one way. They make use of it. They can do, offensive line, defensive line, one-on-ones, like in the deep end zone, and they can do 7-on-7 on the other half of the field. But it's not the same.
Now, what do you? Now we're, a little bit in the camp here. What has kind of popped out to you? Like what's in your front brain?
I would say it's the combination of one, Jalen Hurts has mostly checked the boxes that you wanted to see after what was a bit of a down spring. He's looked good. We've talked about that. And then the other thing is right now, like the defensive line over the past couple of practices has overtaken the offensive line. The offensive line is dealing with some injuries, and so they're undermanned, but it has been a productive sign. I think if you're hoping that the Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams combination can be game wrecking when it comes to the regular season, we've seen a little bit of that over the past 2 practices, including the first practice in pads.
Yeah, I said yesterday, Jalen Carter's the guy that I just circle, man. I just cannot wait because I think he has that. Hey, we're going to be, a wrecking ball. Zach was calling him Indomitian Sue.
I mean, I think he can. At least he doesn't. Maybe he won't stomp on people, but I think he can be. I think he can be one of the. I think he can be one of the 3 best defensive tackles in football this year. I think that is on the table. I think that's possible for him. Which, for a guy in his second year at a position that usually takes a long time, I don't think that those are crazy expectations. I think Jalen Carter should be the best player on the defense this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. The defense is so fascinating because of all the youth in the secondary, and it feels like you finally have depth, right? It feels like you got players. Now, again, they're all kind of in the same boat, right? Other than Slay, there's a lot about potential.
Yeah, no, Isaiah Rodgers is a mid-career guy. He's not.
But
necessarily
coming off of what he came off of, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's nice that usually I would make the case that you get the young guys on the field early in the season because then you're gonna, the December Eagles are gonna be better than they would be if not. I think it's part of the reason that it was a mistake last year to not play Sidney Brown early, to not play Keely Ringo early. Even Nolan Smith would be better served this year if he had more reps last year. Howie Roseman has talked about, we need to play the young guys. However, I think they're in a nice position now in the secondary where they can let sort of the short-term take over because it's all guys who could use playing time. If Isaiah Rodgers is looking better than Keely Ringo for week 1, I think it's okay if he plays week 1. I think you can bring Quinion Mitchell along at whatever pace it is that he needs to be brought along. There's a tension between, you would think that Vic Fangio is probably the kind of guy who's going to lean towards a veteran. I don't know if that's going to actually be the case, but I think that's okay. And now I think Quinion Mitchell has looked very good. I think he may force his way onto the field early, but I think the Eagles can sort of afford to be patient here, where in years past, it didn't make sense to put out Josh Jobe at the expense of Keely Ringo. You should be thinking more about the long term.
I touched on this going to the other side of the ball. I touched on this with Zach a little bit. But, this is an interesting year for Goddard, right? Because 2 years ago, I thought he was, top 5 tight end in the NFC. And I thought they underused him. And he was underutilized in the offense. Last year, it just seemed like, the offense sputtered a bit. We know about the slide. He wasn't great. He was still underutilized. Where are you at with Goddard? Because I want to use him. I mean, I look at the 2 great receivers. You got Barkley. He should be able to eat. He should be able to feast.
I think you bring up a good point because I do think that we probably undersell the impact that Dallas Goedert could have. And he is at sort of a crossroads of his career. He's 29 years old this year, right? He has had real trouble staying healthy. Each of the past 3 seasons, he has missed time. So there's a chance that like we're at the steep decline of Dallas Goedert. He's going to fall off a cliff, and we're never going to get to see that huge breakout season that we all sort of expected. There's also a chance that, he has a full healthy season. And as you talk about, the attention is paid on A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley and Devontae Smith, and the middle of the field is open, and Jalen Hurts is a little bit more willing to throw the ball over the middle of the field, and Dallas Goedert has that breakout season. I think he is as talented as any deep tight end in the league. Is certainly all around as well because of what he brings to the table as a blocker. I think he has a possibility of a 1,000-yard season in him. Last year, in addition to the injuries, you also saw like his superpower in 22 and 21. He was the best tight end in the league at getting yards after the catch, right? Like running guys over, finding space. They found good ways to get him in space in the middle of the field. And last year, that really dropped off. I think you could probably argue that was more a function of the offensive scheme not being super creative and using him in the best way. But he also looked a little bit less punishing as a runner, I think, last year, just to the eye test. So I'm curious to see what we get from Dallas Goedert. I think you could tell me he's going to be a top 3 tight end in the league this year, and you could tell me he's going to play 6 games, and we're going to be ruining that we never got the 100% Dallas Goedert season.
Do you believe he's, fragile? Like I remember the one, like you refresh my memory, because when I think of the one injury, the one that happened 2 years ago, it came off of a personal foul. Remember? It was the end of the game was Washington.
The guy's grabbing his face mask. They don't throw a flag, and then his shoulder gets driven into the ground.
Right.
So yeah, they have been like
it was
sort
like a
of
freak play,
injuries.
Yeah,
but they do continue to happen. I mean, in 2020, he played 11 games. In 2021, he played 15, 22, 12, 2023, 14. So he's missed time each of the past 4 seasons. I don't think that he is fragile necessarily,
right.
But I also think it's his style of play invites contact. And so the more you invite contact, the more susceptible you are to those sort of freak injuries.
Do we overvalue him? Do we overestimate him? It feel like
I don't
to
think
say
so.
that he could be top 3. Is that actually a thing, Bo? I mean, he doesn't jump off the page like that.
In the NFC,
Yeah,
2 years ago he was in the NFC.
I mean, he's maxed out 830 yards and 4 touchdowns 3 years ago, 592 yards. I don't know. I feel like we overestimate him here. He seems like a guy.
I said it. I thought he was underutilized.
He seems like a 10 to 15, like ranks 10 to 15 in tight ends.
You don't think he was underutilized 2 years ago? I thought he was underutilized.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's not getting open. I don't know.
You got AJ and Devontae, right? So
Hard not to get. Skeeves could get open.
Right.
You know where actually I do think that they underutilize him is in the red zone. And part of that is because they've been able to just lean on the tush push. But Dallas Goedert is a guy who should be able to make plays for you in tight windows and be a factor in the red zone. And he's never had more than 5 touchdowns in a season. So I feel like that's actually the place where they could lean into him a little bit more.
It's funny. We talk about this is where stats gets you in trouble, because all those rushing touchdowns from Jalen, right? Like to your point, Bo, the red zone is all about Jalen, whether it was tush push or Jalen escaping. That was the majority of how they score.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so it robs A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith of touchdown opportunities. Obviously DeAndre Swift last year would have had like 6 more touchdowns if it weren't for Jalen Hurts. So yeah, and if you're just talking about the touchdown disparity, Hurts' rushing ability, takes away from the top receivers.
Yeah, I just don't think you can define a guy because of that, VG.
Yeah, I don't know. He just doesn't seem like. Yeah, he seems like a guy. Nothing more than that.
What, do you tell me he's Keith Krepley? Come on, man. I don't know.
He's not John Spagnola.
I like his. I've always liked his skill set.
Yeah, he seems like he's got a great skill set.
He can run after the catch.
Yeah.
He's got good hands. Remember, we think about tight ends, and for years you always had to rely, because the receivers were lacking. And now you got 2 of the great. These are the 2 best receivers. The best receiver tandem you've ever had in history of the franchise.
I also think his all around skill set was the key to why they were so good on offense in 2022 and why it was so simple. If you remember,
Yeah.
they were in 12 personnel with 2 tight ends on the field. They were the best passing team in football. And that was because of what Dallas Goedert brought to the table as a receiver in 12 personnel. And then when they were in 11 personnel, they were the best running team in football. And that's because of what Dallas Goedert brought to the table as a run blocker as the lone tight end on the field. And so that ability, I loved how simple that was. Let's get them in big formations and throw on them. Let's get them in light formations and run on them. And it was like the perfect recipe. And he was the key to that. And they got away from that a little bit last year. So I'm curious to see how it plays out this year.
Is depth your biggest fear with this group, especially on offense? Because you look at them, you go, Devontae and AJ, great. After that, it's a fall off a cliff when it comes to kind of which you would expect when you have 2 elite receivers, but you lose one, it's scary.
It is absolutely my biggest concern about the season. It's not the defense. It's not Jalen Hurts. It's the lack of depth on offense. And most teams in the league are not super deep on offense. I think most teams in the league would trade their entire offense for the Eagles' entire offense because of how top-heavy it is for the Eagles. But I was really surprised that the Eagles did not add somebody else as the third receiver over the course of the offseason. They could still do that. They could still do that before the trade deadline. But they've gotten relatively lucky with injury luck for A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith over the past couple seasons. I don't think that you can necessarily count on that. The offensive line, we've already seen it through the first week of camp. Like, if you lose Steen and Landon Dickerson, they haven't looked very good. Lane Johnson is getting up there. He's awesome when he's out there, but you can't rely on him to play 17 games. I don't know that they are deep enough along the offensive line or at their receivers. I mean, Grant Calcaterra is probably the number 2 tight end. He hasn't done a lot. I think he had 4 catches last season. And a wide receiver, if we're in a scenario where you have to be throwing the ball to Paris Campbell or Johnny Wilson as a rookie, that's not going to be ideal. So it's just knowing what the Eagles care about and how much they know that offense is king. I'm a little bit surprised that they are as shallow as they are at the moment.
Hey, Bo, how about the offensive lineman they signed from Temple, the free agent? What's his name? Matt Hennessy. Is he playing at all? Does he look bad? Good?
I actually think he's looked pretty good. He has been the second team right guard and the second team center at different portions of camp so far. Once Tyler Steen went down, he has been working exclusively, Hennessy has, as the second team right guard. I think he's low-key in the mix to potentially start if Mekhi Becton is not ready for prime time and Tyler Steen is still dealing with that lingering injury. I think it's maybe part of the reason that they signed Nick Gates a couple days ago, because maybe they can use him as the second team center. But Hennessy's a little bit undersized. He's dealt with injuries over the course of his career, but so far, I think he's looked pretty good, and I thought he held up well in one-on-ones. Actually had the best rep against Jalen Carter in one-on-ones of any offensive lineman that I saw.
Cool. He's a good story. He married a local lady. He got married on the Parkway.
Yeah. He's a great story.
Yeah.
I love it. And listen, to have success against Carter in one-on-ones is impressive. How about backup running back? I mean, I know Gainwell. I mean, I what's funny about him? I've never been the biggest Gainwell.
Me neither.
I
can't believe he's still here.
I don't know what he does well.
It's interesting. Gainwell has been like the opposite of the player that I thought he was going to be coming into the league. I thought he was going to be a dynamic receiver, which is what he was at Memphis. Yeah. And he hasn't really been that. But he's actually been, considering how undersized he is, very successful at like short yardage stuff and has been good between the tackles. In 2022, I think he had the highest success rate of any running back in the league just because he was like getting it done but was not super explosive. But you're right. They're not thrilled, I think, with him as the number 2. That's part of the reason they use a 4th-round pick on Will Shipley. Shipley's had a good first week of camp, no doubt. Has looked interesting as a receiver. The one day that Saquon didn't practice, Shipley had a big day, and it was nice that Jalen Hurts was willing to throw him the ball. I don't know if they're going to count on him between the tackles, but I think that Shipley offers a little bit of something that they don't necessarily have. And I'll give you a down roster guy who has popped a little bit for me over the past couple practices. Lou Nichols.
Who?
Sleeper to make the roster. 7th round pick of the Packers last year.
Wow.
who they signed in the offseason. Down the depth chart, maybe got to
Dr.
watch
Nichols
in
lied
preseason.
to me. Go find him.
What is that from?
To Fugitive. Lou Nichols. That's awesome. That's fabulous. I'm going to look out for Lou Nichols.
That's a good pull. Lou Nichols.
Lou Nichols. Hey, for people going tonight, tell them, give them a little primer, what to watch, what to look for, what to expect.
Just look for Lou Nichols, man. Just watch him all practice. All eyes on Lou.
Lou.
Skip to my Lou. I mean, I think watch the corners. I think that's the most fun thing to watch in these practices because it is the rare case where it's a competition where there are not necessarily any bad answers, and they've all looked good. So it's going to be fun for the fans to get to see eyes on Quinyon Mitchell, the rookie. He's been spending a lot of time inside with the first-team defense. That's fun to watch. Keely Ringo has been fun on the outside, and Isaiah Rodgers has been really good. And so in these practice settings where they're not going to be tackling, they're not going to be running the ball a ton, but they are going to be doing stuff on the outside. You're probably going to see some wide receiver DB one-on-ones. I think the corners is probably the most fun thing for fans to watch tonight.
Yeah, he's got to watch Nick, make sure Nick's staying out of the way, let everything run perfectly.
VG's going to go.
He's got to take his daily shot.
Binoculars trained only on Nick. Just looking for
real
any
quick,
little thing he can do.
This feels like a no-brainer to me for a wide receiver depth. Adam Thielen off the Panthers. They can't. Do you think he would be a fit here?
He runs
in
in
slot?
Molasses.
Huh?
He runs in molasses.
You don't think he's good in a slot here?
He's done.
I don't know. I think
he looks horrible. You know how slow he is?
No.
Got to get the sundial.
Oh,
time here.
Dude, this is he ain't Adam Thielen from Minnesota.
I think he'd be all right as a slot guy here.
They could use anybody who cromulent who they could line up there, but I don't think we're throwing a parade for Adam Thielen.
No, we always think about these guys and these names, and then you realize that when you're at a certain age as a running back or receiver, you fall off the cliff quickly. So anyway, Bo, great stuff as always. 2:00. You and Zach, what are you talking about today?
We're going to do our first week of camp projected 53-man rosters. We're going to go through and do
Lou Nichols,
some depth chart stuff. Lou Nichols, and
Dr.
I'm looking forward
Nichols.
to Nick Sirianni's press conference today when he asks me, "Hey, what's VG up to today?"
Oh yeah. Tweet out a picture of the shirt he's wearing today too.
You're such.
This is my favorite.
I'm just curious what the shirt he's wearing.
So out of line.
What?
You're so out of line. Great stuff, my brother. We'll be watching 2:00. Everybody's got to be there. The all PHLY Eagles show. Bo and Zach. Thanks, buddy. Here he is.
I like the way Matt Deckert's thinking. We need a sponsor for the daily VG shot at Nick.
Yeah. All right. This portion of the program, speaking of sponsors,
is where we make some money.
Is brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. So it's time for the brain.
Brain. Red, the brain finder.
Hello, brain. Top of the morning to you.
I'm writing down Lou Nichols over 17 and a half receptions this year, plus $1.85. I'm in.
Nichols.
I mean,
I love it.
I got to tell you something interesting, though, what Bo said, Anthony. I know we've talked about it on this show before, and I really agree with him. He used the word, and I couldn't agree more. The Eagles have been lucky. I mean, they really have been lucky. They have, look, their wide receiver depth, and look, I understand the NFL, it's like you're always going to be short somewhere. You can never be strong and have depth in every single position. It's almost impossible. I don't care what team you are. There's always going to be one position, maybe two positions. You're like, all right, we're not as strong here as we want. But man, you look at that receiver room, okay, and if they were to get an injury, let's say to Devontae or AJ, as I know I said this before, Anthony, I think it would be a catastrophic situation where they would have no one. I don't know where they would go. I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's why I brought it up to Bo that their depth is. I mean, they're so top heavy. They're like the Yankees lineup, right? Like it's so
like the
top.
Yankees lineup. Yeah,
they're like so top heavy. They're great, but you're gonna have to keep them both up healthy. I feel you.
Is there a wide receiver out there, Anthony, that's decent that I don't know on the free agent wire that's still
You
just
got to
waiting
wait
for a
for cut
contract?
day and see what happens. There's nobody on the street. I mean,
Yeah,
VG's talking about. I have the feeling he's got nothing left. I mean,
Was he cut?
he's got nothing. He's slow.
No, was he released? Did they release him?
No.
No, he's looking to try to get him. He's got nothing left.
man.
Like
Wouldn't pay for him.
you look because you're going to look on bad teams and try to snag bad, off a bad team.
For a 6th round pick.
Yeah, but you're not. He's got nothing. I mean, he's slow right now. Speaking of players, today we're having our fantasy football primer. You are a great fantasy football man. You play in, I don't know, 2,000 leagues?
Give or take.
Like you are, it's unbelievable. Wait, real quick, tell the audience, because I always love telling them, your big money leagues, how much and how many?
I probably have one league again. We play for a Bitcoin, so that's like
A Bitcoin.
what's that? A Bitcoin.
Great place for a Bitcoin.
So that's what's Bitcoin at, like 66,000, something like that.
Yes, I don't know.
So like
I guess,
that we play for the entry fees of Bitcoin, whatever a Bitcoin is, and then I have a bunch of others that are like in the 10 to 20 area.
That's
so yeah,
thousand. That's
yeah,
thousand,
yeah.
BG.
I mean, I'm definitely spending north of 6 figures in these fantasy leagues. So I take it quite seriously. It's not just fun and games for me. This is like, I take this stuff very, very, very seriously. So my fantasy is, it's not
So you're
just,
like a fantasy football hustler. Like,
well, no, you know what's interesting though, Anthony? I got to tell you,
finding people to play in $10,000, $20,000 leagues. Is that? I mean, what's that about?
Well, listen, most of the people, again, look, it used to be, I mean, it was the old saying, taking candy from a baby. It's gotten harder with the information out there now. It's harder to find like huge edges like you used to find before. It really has. It's like anything else, people, there's more information on the internet. Like your quote unquote sleepers, everyone quote knows it. There's so much more information out there. But again, I have certain beliefs and certain that still guys that I see going late that I just believe is a strong value, and I can just, in my opinion, use that to my advantage in certain positions where they get drafted. And I haven't had a losing year doing it. So until there's that day, I'm going to keep doing it and investing the money that I have. But again, there's always that day. I always say I can bleed too. Look, this week for me, by the way, and my picks has been a bad week for me. I'm usually don't really have many losing bad weeks. I've had a losing week this week. It happens. It is what it is.
You're like the Phillies.
I'm like the Philly. Yeah, I mean, listen. Yeah, listen. It's like anything in life. You're going to get peaks and valleys. Like yesterday, like I had Taj Bradley over 17.5 outs. I had a big price too against the Marlins. Guy, gives up. Only gets 5 innings. He threw like 90 pitches. Couldn't get there. It happens. So I mean, you have to just go through those peaks and valleys. Yeah, I heard that.
Wrinkles is barking.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you get the name yet?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I got outvoted, just for the record, like was not my choice, but it's Isabella Bello you pick. I'm not happy. Yeah,
weak. Just what you want to hear. You're telling your boys your dog's name. That's
it's
weak.
weak.
Yeah,
It's
how
weak.
many Bellas are out there?
At least I admit it. I'm not a person that doesn't admit it. I admit when something stinks, and this stinks.
Yeah, I feel you.
Just for the record, a Bitcoin is currently $64,857.
There you go.
So that's your entry fee. Is a Bitcoin?
That'll be the entry fee.
Is it winner take all the Bitcoins?
No. But I told you last year. I still have nightmares about it. I was up by like 20 some points. Like I want to say like 23 points, and I had Brock Purdy and the other guy, Christian McCaffrey. I'm up like Purdy averages more points than McCaffrey, by the way. It was that Ravens game where Purdy got through like 5 interceptions and lost the MVP, which, by the way, I had him at MVP at 20-1 odds also. That bet went down in flames, which cost me 6 figures. But I was up 20-some points. Purdy got a negative like 6. McCaffrey got like 23, and I lost. Instead of winning, I lost by like 3 points or whatever it was. That was my all-time worst fantasy beat because it was one of my biggest games of my life. and I got the unluckiest I ever could have gotten.
What was the outcome? Like, what did you? How much
Well,
did you
no,
lose?
it cost me 6 figures. It cost me 6 figures because I would have won my league. That was the Bitcoin league.
Oh, so you would have won that league off
Yes,
that
yes,
play?
yeah,
Do you,
yes.
So you still cash something out of it.
I still cashed, but it cost me still a lot of money. And it was again, I had
Six
Brock
figures,
Purdy.
VG.
Yeah.
I had Brock Purdy against Christian McCaffrey plus 20 points. And I mean,
that's
Purdy kept
brutal.
on and then even at the end, you probably don't remember this game, but they just took him out. And then Sam Darnold comes in and leads him to a touchdown drive right away. And I'm like, geez, what the heck? You know, because I would have won if that had been Purdy.
Oh, that's brutal, Bradley.
One of these years, I'll forget about it.
Yeah. Dude, our Padre watch. We talked about the Padres yesterday.
Padres, yeah. Look, I actually bet them yesterday.
8-1, beat up
VG.
on Kershaw.
I bet them yesterday at 15-1. We talked about it. I actually did put a bet on it. I think it's worth it. I mean, their bullpen, what they're going to try to do, VG, in these games, they're going to try to say, all right, we're up 1-0 N5 or 3-2 N5. We're going to just go one inning each, 4 relievers who have an ERA in the ones. Good luck scoring off us.
Yep, that's what they did yesterday.
They'll shorten the game. It's always, let's try to shorten the game.
Yeah.
And they have Cease, who's been right now is top 5 Cy Young candidate. Michael King's been incredible for them.
Yeah, he's been great.
So they have, again, if they were to get Musgrove back or Darvish back, this can be just like you guys talked about yesterday. This could be a really pesky team for sure.
Yeah,
that really makes things
they took Cease out yesterday in the 5th inning.
Yeah.
Gave up one
run.
I
mean this is a team to me that is really, again, I that's a team to me that's legs is a long shot pick.
All right, so give me a couple players. First, give me like how your top 5. If you had how did the top 5 draft go? Fantasy draft.
Again, this is very important. Again, first of all, are you doing a PPR draft, points per reception?
Most people do the PPR draft.
Most people do. And then the next thing is, are you doing a flex 9, flex 10, flex 11? What does that mean? There's leagues where you start 2 running backs, 2 receivers. No, you play 9 players. And then there's other leagues where you play you play 2 running backs, 2 receivers in a flex, or you play 2 running backs, 3 receivers in a flex. That's called a flex 10. Or you play 2 running backs, 3 receivers, and 2 flex. That's a flex 11. Why is that a difference, Anthony? I know. It's how many players you start. It's how many players you start. But if you only start 9 players, it makes the running backs and quarterbacks more valuable because the receivers score the most points of anyone. So when you can play more receivers, 5 receivers, you want as many receivers early as possible. If you only can play at most 3 receivers, it makes the running backs a little more valuable. Most people probably play a flex 10, so I'll go by that. My top 5, I would go Christian McCaffrey 1, and then I'm going all receivers. I'm probably going Tyreek Hill 2, probably if CeeDee Lamb gets this thing all fixed with coming back to the team, which I'm assuming that'll work itself out, probably would have him 3. And then I probably have Jefferson and Chase 4 and 5 for me personally. And then I probably have Amon-Ra St. Brown 6 for me. And then it comes down to a little more difficult. You can either go running backs, guys like Bijan Robinson, who I like a lot, or you could go with good receivers like A.J. Brown still. But to me, I like getting one of those top 6 picks because I think that there's a little bit of a drop-off after that, in my opinion.
Give me a couple value guys.
Running backs, again, I like passing on these running backs early because I think in rounds like 9, you can get, again, not overrating the guy, but again, I think he's going to get a lot of touches. Devin Singletary of the Giants. I think they like him. I think it's pretty evident they like him if you watch that show. He's always been productive when he's played. Say what you want to say about that guy. He's never had a bad year. Yeah. And he puts up serviceable stats. He can actually catch the ball to the backfield too. That team to me doesn't have some great offense. I think he can easily be a 3-down back and be involved. And he's going, it's like, you know what? I'll take him in round 9. You can take your Breece Hall in round 1. Obviously, I prefer Breece Hall. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think it's going to be the difference between, let's say, Justin Jefferson in round 1 and a 9th-round wide receiver. I love taking the Cincinnati Bengals running backs. I said last year I took the Dolphins running backs in all my leagues. I took a chain and Raheem Mostert because the reason being, I'm like, this is a top offense. One of these guys is going to hit. And like to me, I look at Cincinnati's offense. They have a great offense, whether it's Zach Moss or Chase Brown. In my opinion, one of those guys will be very valuable. And I like
Chase Brown.
I like Chase. He's the guy I like more of the two, and he's usually going in around 10 or 11, Anthony.
Yeah.
But I like getting both guys. I don't have to guess which guy is going to be the guy. But you saw they gave the ball to Joe Mixon a ton last year. This offense is going to score points. I think it's going to be a good spot. And then it's interesting. This is a guy I faded a lot in the past, but I actually think he's in a good situation this year, Anthony, and he's going round 8. Again, same thing. I think James Conner, he actually had his best career year last year. They drafted the kid from Florida State. I get it, Benson. But I actually think that while they may not be a good team, Arizona, I think they're going to score points. I really do. And he catches the ball. He had 2 years ago with Kyler Murray. He had 20 touchdowns. He led the league in touchdowns. He's going late. Again, these are all, I'm not giving you guys that you're going to go on the first round. Now, you don't need me to tell you Derrick Henry's good, that Saquon Barkley's good. You don't need me for that. But these are guys you can get later, in my opinion, that can help win your league for you because I think they can be much more productive than where they're being drafted.
I love it. What do you got for us today, Brain?
It's a light card today. Didn't love much, but I'm going to give you a bet that I do like. That I think merits a bet. Sonny Gray, St. Louis Cardinals, over 5.5 strikeouts. Gave this out last time against Atlanta, and he got like 8 or 9. 16-2. He's averaging 7.5. So let me ask you a question. The guy's averaging 7.5. Why are they making it 5.5? And against a team that strikes out. Doesn't mean it's going to win, but and it is pricey. It was like minus $1.60 or so. But I think this bet wins. I think at least caught 5 out of 7 times. I think it's still 100 basis points too low. I think Sonny Gray gets his 6 strikeouts against the Chicago Cubs today.
I like it.
Hey, Brain, I was looking at the Royals today. What do you think about the Royals?
It's funny. I bet the Royals in the overnight line, but the line's moved a lot since I bet it, so I'm not giving it out. But yeah, I actually bet the Royals. Right now, I think the Tigers are VG. I think the Tigers right now, from today on, except when obviously it's win day with Tariq Skubal. Any other day that they're playing, I think this may be the worst team in the Major League Baseball. Look at their lineup.
Yeah,
literally look at their lineup, and you will see again with no Riley Green. Not that he's an all-star anyway. They have nothing. Vierling, the guy from the Phillies, is their best hitter right now.
I know.
So it's an abysmal lineup. No good starting pitching. This is a team, in my opinion, is going to fall off the cliff. Right now, they're on pace to be close to 500. This is a team I'm looking to fade the rest of the way.
I like it. Brain, great stuff, buddy.
See you guys tomorrow.
Great. See you, Bella. That's the Brain. We love the Brain. Yeah. He's fantastic. Brain, of course, brought to us by the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. Yes. All that stuff. So you want the Royals today, like my man VG? You can lay -1, right, for shorter odds. So you could do that. You can lay 1, 1.5, 2.5, and it changes all the odds. Check out betparks.com. All right, they have all the stuff. You can bet first 3 innings, first 5 innings, the whole game. Props like strikeouts, like the Brain just told you. All your favorite sports on the BetParks app. Football futures on the BetParks Sportsbook Casino app. Right now, don't forget all your favorite casino games like Baccarat, live roulette, several live different blackjack games. Play them all right now with a live dealer right on your phone with the BetParks online and sportsbook app, plus hundreds of exciting online slots like Zeus, fantastic fireworks, Lucky Cherry, all the action and excitement from the casino right at your fingertips. Safe, simple, easy to use. Odds, bets, slots, games right in your pocket. And by the way, new users, download the BetParks online casino and sportsbook app. Right now, you get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. That's it. BetParks.com has all the details. You got to be 21 in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, Ohio, and Michigan. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. You love to play. You play to win. You bet. BetParks. All right. Also, let me tell you about Sleep Healthy. That's Dr. Andy Cohen. Stop the snore, Dr. Andy says. You got a snoring issue? Right? You're like, listen, Skeeves, how about it? Your girlfriend told you to leave the room.
That she did. Yeah.
You got to go see Dr. Andy.
I'm a bad snorer.
Yeah, it's Skeeves. You got to see Dr. Andy. Dr. Andy, fix you right up. No CPAP. All right, none of that stuff. Looking like a spaceman. You don't have to do that. Dr. Andy uses dental appliances. He's a brilliant guy. He's a dentist by trade, and he has these dental appliances that you put in at night that help open your passageways, right? Open them, help you breathe. He uses laser therapy, which is not painful, all right? It'll open your passageways. Dr. Andy, brilliant guy. You're going to love him, and he's going to help save your relationship and really help your health, okay? Because when you have sleep apnea, it just does a number on you. You feel horrible. Your body's not regenerating. You're not getting into that REM sleep where it's healing itself. So do yourself a favor. Go to sleephealthy.org. That's right, sleephealthypa.com. That's sleephealthypa.com. All right? And go see Dr. Andy. Tell him we sent you. Stop the snore. Sleephealthypa.com.
I just placed Bet Parks, little parlay. Kansas City money line. Seth Lugo over 4.5 strikeouts, plus 120. Tigers struck out 10 times last game. So Lugo,
They stink.
Lugo over 4.5.
Their lineup stinks.
Yeah.
So I think you're good. All right. I want our next guest.
We could use some help from him.
We
need an ESPN
love
insider.
our next guest. And he's got great perspective because it's national perspective.
Yes.
He has a sophisticated sports mind. He's our buddy, the great Kevin Negandhi. Kev, there's panic in the streets, Kevin.
He's not wearing Phillies gear either.
Mine had me dying. That's great. Good to see you, buddy.
So can you help the people? I tell them, you can't panic until kickoff, all right? Don't panic in baseball until kickoff. There's you have 2 months before the playoffs. So as long as you're right by kickoff, you get your mojo back, you start playing better ball. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. Go back 2 years ago, right? They had that horrible series against the bad Cubs. And then next thing you know, they go on a run.
Great point. You're the voice of reason. I feel like I've been the voice of reason for a long time. But I got to tell you, the last week and a half, man, it has not sat well with me. And you want to know why? And because, listen, ruts happen no matter what, right? What hasn't sat well with me is specifically it's the same things that we've seen with this team over the last 2 years. When one star doesn't hit, it seems like everybody doesn't hit, right? And there are so many other holes in this lineup, and it's scaring me. Like, Stott has been really tough this season. He's going through it. When Bohm has hit this low the last 3 weeks, you could just tell that they don't have any in the bottom part of that lineup. Brandon Marsh has nearly 100 strikeouts in less than 300 at-bats, man. I mean, he was given a situation as a pinch hitter. You've got to do something yesterday after going 0 for 6 the previous day. I'm not saying he's a savior, but, like, give me some life. How many times do we have to see these strikeouts and the runners in scoring position? So it's a consistent thing that we saw last year, Game 6 and Game 7 of the NLCS, that we saw in the World Series after they had that huge game with the 5 home runs. Then they get no hit, and then they look completely lost. That's concerning to me. I feel for Bryce Harper, because Bryce Harper feels like he needs to. He's the star, but that he needs to get the hit. And if he doesn't get a hit, no one else will. And these other guys have to do it. And I will bring up one instance with the team that just beat us and swept the Phillies. It was the Yankees. Literally a month ago, they were reeling. And everybody's talking about no one can hit. It's just Judge and Soto, right? And Judge at one point a couple weeks ago said, I believe in everybody else. It eventually will come around. And guess what? All that lineup needed to do was come to South Philly and hit at the bank, and it came around for everybody else. So, like, these other guys have got to pick it up and help the Bryce Harpers of the world, because he can't carry it every single game. And he had instances the last 2, but this is the instance, I think, of a superstar trying to do too much because it's all on his shoulders.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question. Isn't that baseball? Because you see it all the time. Like, teams will go quiet together, right? Like, so JT is an important piece of this thing. He's just coming back. He's been scuffling since he got back. At some point, Now, this is just the laws of summer. At some point, you get out of it, right? And all of a sudden, the lineup doesn't look as bad because now Rojas is, and I agree with you with Stott, he's scuffling bad. But now you don't have to play Rojas. Now all of a sudden JT's hitting, right? Now all of a sudden Bohm's back to get his plate coverage, right? Now all of a sudden Bryce goes on a torrid streak. I mean, I still believe that this lineup is potent. I like the Hayes thing against lefties, right? So now you have Hayes against lefties and Marsh against righties. That should work.
No, you're right. If you follow baseball, it's 162 games. Everybody knows a lull's going to happen. And guess what? You know what the lull was for the Phillies the previous 2 years? It was April, May, and June, right? And now they flipped the script. And I when they jumped out to this start, I was like, they're going to come down to earth eventually. It's the timing of it, to do it in a series with the Yankees, the previous series where they're scuffling. Now they've got 10 games in front of them on the road. Now the Mets are starting to get hot. The Braves are starting to figure some things out, and they're not healthy. And then the thing that concerns me, Ant, is Ranger going on the DL.
Yeah.
Sanchez, looking human.
Yeah.
And that's been the issue where's that third and fourth guy? And I'm sorry, but I can't go through it with Alvarado again. I can't.
My gosh.
And listen, they figured, they were like, we're not dealing with Sir Anthony anymore. We're not dealing with Soto anymore. Appreciate that. I don't want to hear. I don't want the buildup anymore about Alvarado. He's starting to figure it out. He's starting to we need Estevez look really good, bona fide closer. There's just, what gets me is that there are so many still major holes when one guy doesn't feel like he's hitting the baseball. And right now, Harper's going through a major slump, and everybody else kind of follows through, like you said. It would have been just great, one of the guys in the top three doing something in that series. We're not asking all three to hit. We're not asking Schwarber. We're not asking Harper and Turner, all three. But one of the three. That would be great, especially with runners in scoring position when they had those games won the previous two nights.
You know what the best is? If panic is fire, Kev, you just threw gasoline on it. Because all of a sudden in the audience, the chat room is going up and down. See, Kevin says it. Kevin said, listen, of everything you said, my biggest concern with this club at the moment is the starting pitching, right? Like the starting pitching, only because Ranger, right?
Yes.
Only because, you brought up Sanchez yesterday. I think he's pitched fine, but those guys have thrown a lot of innings. VG said at the deadline they would have been nice to add another starter. You saw Flaherty go to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Like that is to me, getting the bridge from now August through September is a little daunting, right? With the rotation.
Dombrowski did that last year with Lorenzen, right?
Right.
And then he throws a no-no. It was a bridge guy, right? The Suarez stuff really concerns me, man. Because listen, when he was dealing as the number 3 guy that first 2 months, you saw this team, man. This team was incredible. And I'm just putting on Ranger. I absolutely love Ranger. But that is a major concern, especially when you're talking about a 7-game series and we have high hopes with this team. I will also say we're Philadelphians. And
that's the beauty of you.
And we often carry the previous team's failures into the next season. And when I say that, I'm saying, I saw a lot of 10-1 Eagles collapses this week when describing the Phillies. And I'm like, this is what we do as Philadelphians. We don't resolve one season. We carry that angst into the next, team's season, right? And then that carries over. And ever since the Eagles lost in the Super Bowl, that carried right into another second-round disappointment in the Celtics series with the Sixers. 2 springs ago that carried into, oh God, hope again, and then the collapse of game 6 and 7 of the NLCS at home against the Diamondbacks, and then oh my God, we're going to turn around, and then the collapse of the Eagles, and then oh my God, we're going to turn around the Sixers again, and then now we're doing it in this whole Phillies experience, and it's not just 2 weeks. That's the thing people need to understand. This is not just 2 weeks. This is a buildup of 2 years. And I didn't even bring up the Flyers and how they collapsed the final month and they were about to get a playoff spot, right? Like you have that carryover of the Yanks to the next team, to the next team, to the next team. So we're short fused and we just get to a bad place very quickly instead of, hey, we're going to be okay. Because think about it, Ant. Just think about this. Think about how therapeutic it was when we won the Super Bowl. Because whatever happened, the Sixers got really hot right after they won the Super Bowl. Like the next month they were rolling, right? They were rolling, and it was like, this is amazing, right? And it just carried over this feel good, right? But then if they fell short, it was like, that's okay. That's just one team, because guess what? We got the Super Bowl. But the more we're removed from it, the more we've seen the collapses of these other good teams. We've carried over and a lot of that. And a lot of that.
This is what we need right out of this.
Hey, Ant. I've got plenty of that right over here. And Ant, that's not even the good stuff. Ant, that's not even the good stuff. Yeah, I'll pull out this one. We're going to crack this one open soon.
Blends.
Yeah, we got a few of those.
I like it, brother. I like it. You know what's funny is you are a true Philadelphian. I mean, a true blue Philadelphian. You have taken your angst to Connecticut. It stays with you. It's funny. I always like to separate. I can't do the Eagles into I can't carry the Eagles second half fail, the collapse to the Phillies. I always got to separate the lanes. Now, I'll take the Eagles to the Eagles, right? So, or the Phillies to the Phillies. But I hear you. We as 4 for 4 people, it's a big circle. And I see all the memes after one season ends. Oh, it's a Philadelphia sports fan. And it's the cycle, right? And we're the rat in the trap, running, doing the wheel, the hamster wheel.
Totally agree. And listen, it has been a little bit magical because after what the Phillies went through in that debacle of the NLCS, the Eagles had just literally that week beaten the Dolphins.
Yes.
And that was a phenomenal experience that night. And you were feeling really good. And the Eagles kind of like perked you up because they're like, all right, I can wash this Phillies feeling away. And we've got Eagles the next thing. The problem is we've got PTSD.
Yes.
Right? So the minute, stuff hits the fan and we go back to this place, we go then to the place where we were. And that's the problem. And I do a really good job separating it. And so when I saw the 10-1, I was like, well, we can't do that. They're two separate things. But I also understand it. I also understand the space that we go to. And you're like, we're back here again.
I love you. I swear to God, I love you. You're just a treasure. This portion of the program brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Go to TrueMark.com/PHL to find out the credit union difference. So, Kev, I might as well continue the theme with you. So, Embiid benched at the Olympics.
Yeah.
He looks horrible. He's out of shape. Steve Kerr's like, sit down, big fella.
Getting booed from the French people.
I know.
Let me tell you, I had to do Sports Center yesterday at 6 o'clock, and I obviously had to read that Phillies highlight. I had to do the USA basketball highlight, and then my first question to Windhorst in France, I should say, because he was in Lille, was where was Joel Embiid? And it wasn't me who asked the question in the sense of hey,
Right.
I'm going straight to a Sixer angle.
Right.
No, it was like, where's
No, that's the story.
Well, Embiid not starting.
That's the number one story.
And the fear of, oh man, they're realizing he doesn't look like he's in that great shape. And Bam can run the floor, and AD can run the floor, and I don't know, man. Like it's a little depressing. It's a little depressing. So
here's the thing: it could either be the greatest thing for us as Sixer people,
True.
right, or the worst. Like it could be the greatest in that he's embarrassed, and that makes him have a chip on his shoulder, and just say, "Bleep y'all, I'm going to come in and dominate." Right, come in good shape, better shape, and have a big season, or this embarrassment that it's an embarrassment. Let's be real. Like he was all excited about the citizenship, playing for the country, and he's been an embarrassment. And then that just puts him over the cliff. Like one or the other. I'm hoping that it has the effect of I'm going to get mad and show everybody how great I am.
You know what and excellent point by you right there with the observation. You know what I'm hoping? I'm hoping too that Joel is an emotional guy. He wears his emotions on his sleeve. And when you watch that team's a bunch of superstars, right? And they're all the man wherever they go, right? And Joel's got to realize that the team doesn't revolve around him, and you can't carry the cloud over your head. And I'm sure, like it probably affects him a little bit that, he's getting booed for the reasons that they have in France for his citizenship and stuff. And I think that's he wants to dominate. He's got to let the game come to him a little bit. Like you don't need to be the man on the floor every single time on every possession. Don't worry, but the ball's going to come to you. It'll find you. Those guys are pretty damn good. You just hope that he can take something away from that. The one thing I was good about him not playing is like, all right, he's not going to get hurt. He won't get hurt this game.
Right.
I don't want him to get hurt.
And it's such a good lesson for him because where he gets in trouble is when he tries to do too much, right?
Exactly.
It's always, and now you got Paul George, Maxey, and really what this team needs him to be is an incredible sweep the glass rebounder, and obviously, go to the line and get your points. Well, his points will always come, but he really needs to focus on boards and blocking shots.
Yep, and being the man when we need you late in games. Do not crush yourself and say it's got to be all about the offense through me. Let Maxey cook. Maxey did a great job. Like when you talk about like just basketball IQ, I started watching him closely. I watch him all the time, but I started watching him closely towards the end of the season because I was like, okay, how is he going to handle the situation now as these games get bigger and bigger and bigger? And I love that he gets guys involved, and then towards the end of the game, all right, I'm going to try to take over. Like Maxey's just his IQ is really off the charts, man. And I hope Embiid understands that you could play off somebody who gets it, who wants it as much as you, but at the same time knows that it's time to turn it on. And it doesn't. Sometimes that does not include always having the basketball in your hand. You
know what I never liked is when in the first quarter he'll have like 12 points and he'll dominate the ball in the first quarter. I like, to me, you're expending so much early like that.
Yes.
I remember Jordan. Jordan always took a back seat in the first quarter. He always got everybody else touches. Yep. Right? And I always thought that was important to get everybody else the touches. So then you get in the flow of the game, and then you start to get yours.
Totally. And that's when the team will need you on the back end and that energy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, can we talk about something like positive and feeling good about the Eagles? Can we feel good about them?
Yeah, I think so. You feel good? How are you feeling about the Birds?
I feel really good about the Eagles. And like every now and then, it's like one of those. Oh shoot, we got Saquon Barkley.
Yes, yes,
right.
yes,
Like,
yes,
I think
yes.
it when it happens early in the off season, and then you get life takes over, and then you're reminded right around this time, and you start seeing clips and stuff, and you're like, yo, they got Saquon Barkley. Like that's pretty damn exciting. And they got Kellen Moore's offense. That's pretty damn exciting. Howie's done just a tremendous job of finding a way to make all these stars fit. And I hosted NFL Live yesterday, and we're talking a little bit about DJ Moore getting his landmark deal with the Bears, and the dysfunction with the Cowboys. And what really stood out. Marcus Spears is on the air with me, and we go on a commercial break. We like to give each other the business. He's a Cowboy guy, I'm an Eagle guy, and he just went off about specifically the whole Cowboy experience and how they're a poverty franchise and how that annoys him, right? Because they want the discounts for the quarterback and CeeDee Lamb. And he looked at me and he goes, Kev, and yet your team, you got the quarterback under contract. You got the 1A and the number 1 wide receiver already under contract. And he's like, and it's no problems. You guys handle it and you deal with it and you figure it out. And I was like, yeah, well, and we got Saquon. And I was like, and then you look at the Niners, because the Niners bill with Brock Purdy's coming. And it just feels really like the Eagles, management-wise, are in a good space. And now it's up to the players and the draft picks that they expended and all the capital that they put in. They've got to step up and meet the potential, especially the Georgia guys up front. I really, really feel good about this Eagles team. I'm really curious to see how they look in Brazil.
There you go, Kev. Kev ends on the high note, man. I love it.
Man, we needed that.
You picked everybody up, man. You picked
Good.
everybody up. Good. We love you, brother. Best to my nephews, okay?
I appreciate it, yeah. My love to your nephews and the fam, all right? Be good.
The great Kevin Negandhi. All right? Now, he ended on
It was a little rough.
Early. He rebounded nicely. The Phillies surprised me a little bit.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about Parks Casino. We talk about the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. What about the casino? Ben Salem, a mecca of entertainment. Restaurants. You want to talk about restaurants? Wow. They have the Liberty Bell Steakhouse, the Gastro Pub. I mean, you name it. Incredible foods, hand-rolled sushi. That's a work of art. How about the happy hours at the Liberty Bell, at the Gastro Pub? It's just tremendous, right? The happy hour, you got the $5 small plates. It's the epic $5 happy hour. You want to get over there Wednesday through Friday, right? So today, tomorrow, head up there because look at this. You got the $5 beers, right? From the Victory Stout. You want the seasonal. I mean, it's just the Parks Pills. You got the Cabernet, the Cabernet, Albertoni Cabernet. You have the drink of summer, which is the frozen Arnold Palmer teas. Like, just tremendous, right? Like, that's delicious. Small plates like the braised short ribs. I mean, the hot honey chicken sliders. They have everything. The table games, state-of-the-art slots, the poker room, the sports book. Do yourself a favor. Go to Parks Casino, Street Road, Ben Salem. ParksCasino.com for everything Parks. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It is summer, and that means it's sunglass season. But if you love your eyes, it's always sunglass season. So get ready for every day with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company offering world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Excuse me. These shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them perfect for all your outdoor adventures. They have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find a perfect pair to match your style. You can even grab a pair in your favorite team's colors. Use your own experience. These Shady Rays, dude, I love them when I drive. I love them when I golf. They're crisp. They're clear. And this is the cool thing about Shady Rays. If your glasses ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, You don't sweat it. They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by lost or broken replacements. So if you don't love your shades, you can exchange them for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days, and there's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back with personal and fast support. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use the code PHLY for 35% off polarized glasses. Try for yourself. The Shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Like it. Shady Rays, baby. All right. This portion of the program brought to you by Rite Aid, RiteAid.com. All right. So it's fantasy football season. A lot of people are doing their drafts.
Yeah, I see. I went to Wegmans. They got fantasy magazines everywhere. Stocks are the shelves are stocked with these magazines.
As we turn the page to August, I love August.
Yeah, you're an August guy?
I'm an Augustman.
Yeah. Call you Gus.
Yeah, I love it. Augustus. My buddy's got a dog named Gus.
I like
That's
Gus.
a good dog
Gus
name.
is a great name in general.
Right? Gus is a cool name.
We had a TV repair guy back in the day, Gus.
Gus, I agree.
Yeah.
Gus is strong.
Yeah, I love Gus.
I'm with you. So August, we turn the page. August feels about you got football, you got things start to come on the horizon. And you talk about the fantasy football magazines. I remember loving, I used to go down to show. I was a kid. We go to Wildwood this time of the year, first couple weeks of August. And like you got the full preview magazine, the Street and Smith, all that stuff. And you get to just OD on football. And I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to start thinking about fantasy football. All right.
Yeah.
And so we have our own expert. He's back with us. People that listen to us on the show, you remember the Geek.
Love the Geek.
Kevin Allen, my man, the Geek. Geek! Little different now. You used to be on the phone, and now we get to see the Geek in person.
Little visual. What's going on, cuz? What's
What
up,
do you
fellas?
say, buddy? Say hello to VG Violations Greg.
What's up, Geek?
Violation. Greg, what's going on, my man?
He's got the gamer kind of nerd geeky seat going on behind him, high end. Yeah. This guy's legit.
No, he's a legit geek.
Yeah.
He is. He is the greatest fantasy guy. He, from top to shelf, he's got his own app.
Yeah,
The Sharp app.
remember.
Like, he's got like, this dude exudes fantasy football.
It's all we do all year. Fantasy football, nonstop, off season, on season. It never ends over here. And August is the time, as you know. This is the time to get ready.
So wait, real quick, tell people your first foray into this thing. You have a fantasy, basically website, which is incredible, where you got all the analytics called DFS Army.
Sorry, we started in the DFS space, so attacking DraftKings, FanDuel, those type of games, and now there's a whole bunch of other games that have evolved, but on daily fantasy sports. So we love to dive into the numbers, analytics, projections, models, all that good stuff. And we have we're all in our little basements with our visors on, crunching numbers all throughout the year to help you guys win your league.
I love it. You are straight out of Central Casting. It's fantastic, Geek. Fantastic. So let's get to it, right? A lot of people, they're trying to figure out, all right, well, we got our drafts and we're ready to go, and now they're starting to do their homework because the date is in the book for their draft. Help them out. Let's start off with the obvious, and let's look at, the first couple rounds. Maybe you have a first-round mock that you like to share?
Yeah, I can. We'll go through some rankings, but I'll give you some general strategies for the first couple rounds.
Yeah.
So this year we have 3 ultra premium running backs that sort of, whenever you take them, you're going to be in pretty good shape. It starts with Christian McCaffrey, but then I have Breece Hall and Bijan Robinson as numbers 2 and 3 in that order. All 3 of those guys are worth a pick in the first round, with Christian McCaffrey being the number 1 overall fantasy player this year, and the other 2 kind of coming in between some of those elite wide receivers. The elite wide receiver group starting the number 1 wide receiver this year. You ready for this? We have a new leader in 2024. and that's CeeDee Lamb. He has overtaken pretty much even Tyreek Hill and of course Justin Jefferson as the top dog for 2024. So it's your draft order is probably going to start with Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb. We're going to look at Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson. Some order of that. Then we're going to take a look at those two running backs, Hall and Bijan. And then after that, we get to the second half of round one. Amon-Ra St. Brown shows up, and it gets a little different. I've got Garrett Wilson rising up this season with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has called Garrett Wilson one of the best wide receivers he's ever
You
played
love
with.
the Jets. Let's also, we see it in the background, he's a true blue. This is why I love the Geek, because he's a New Yorker, right? But he's not a Giant guy. The Jet people are more like Philadelphia people.
The chat's not too happy. They're like, what's this Jet poster in the background? Boo this man, Provolone John says.
We all bleed green together. Come on, guys. It's solidarity. Solidarity with the Philly crowd.
For future appearances, we got to black out the Jets thing. All right, you got to take that out, man. We're a provincial town.
Because the brand is this: if you're a Jets fan, you had to be obsessed with fantasy football because you're not watching the terrible football.
Right.
Like, you can't really get enjoyment out of watching such a horrible. It's more of a comedy than it has been. I mean, maybe this year we'll turn it around.
Listen, my heart bleeds for you guys because you think about the Jets and you think about, how many playoffs do you remember in your lifetime?
I mean, 86, like Mark Sanchez got a fair one.
Dude.
I'm going back
was
a long
the
way.
receiver.
Yeah. The worst part, cuz, is when we went to the playoffs, you had no hope. You knew, like, Mark Sanchez took us to the playoffs, and I was like, this isn't going to go very far. We get lucked our way in with Parcells. It's been a rough run.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So you like Garrett Wilson. How about your quarterbacks? Where did quarterbacks go? And how do you rank them?
So this season, first of all, I'm going to give the cheat code out, of course, as I always like to.
You always give good cheat codes. Yeah.
The way you win in season-long fantasy football has always been picking a late quarterback that works out well. A few years ago on the show, I was talking about Jalen Hurts. You guys all knew it. Running backs that can run score better than ones that can't. It's just that simple. If you remember Anthony Richardson last season, he only played a couple games, but they were glorious in terms of his fantasy production. We have a player like that this year. But starting off, basically what happens with the quarterback position this year is you hit about the end of round 3, and that's where the Jalen Hurts is, the Josh Allens start to come off the board, Mahomes. My suggestion is don't fall for that. Continue to take stud players. Your Isaiah Pacheco is around at that time. Amari Cooper is somebody you can take there, or top end tight ends like Mark Andrews or Kelsey or Trey McBride. They're all there when people start to take the quarterbacks. My suggestion, and I'm in 26 drafts right now, by the way, so I am doing this.
26, dude.
Just right this moment. If I look at my slow draft, so I just pop in every couple hours, make my picks. But my suggestion is don't take the quarterback there. Wait. Anthony Richardson is available a couple rounds later, and he is a beast with his legs. But I've got an even better one for you guys. If you really want to go all in on weight on quarterback, Jaden Daniels, the new quarterback for the Commanders.
Yep.
He's got all of the statistics
I
that
like
tell you
Jalen
this
Daniels,
guy,
yeah.
fantasy goal. He's good with the arm. I would say better with the arm than Anthony Richardson. More experienced as a passer. The running is insane. So he is effectively going as QB 11 or 12 this year. If you're in a 10-team league, a 12-team league, you can be the last player in your league to take a quarterback and lose no edge from the quarterback position. Dak Prescott is going one before him. I know we hate Dak in Philly, but he's also going to be really, really good this year in fantasy. So either one of those two guys allows you to wait till the end of your draft. And what ends up happening is you have a positional edge at whatever else you took in round 3 when they all took the quarterback. So I get to have what I call a luxury tight end when everybody else doesn't. So that's the key piece of strategy, I think, for 2024. There are effectively 2 quarterbacks late that you could take that are probably
Jake
going to
Daniels is interesting because I loved him at LSU. I mean, he gets the ball out. You're right, he runs, and like they're all in on him. So it's like, here you go, kid. Like, have at it. So, I mean, I like the idea of going with a rook because their defense isn't great. So he'll get a lot of garbage points too. You can see that. I think that's a sharp.
McLaurin and Dotson are good receivers.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
There's a lot of leeway. There's a lot of room for error. Yeah, there's all this room for error, even if he's terrible. By the way, this is what's so great about running quarterbacks. I always talk about this. Even if he's not very good, he's still putting up 18, 20 fantasy points a week just because he's running around out there and he accidentally runs for a touchdown. The less good you are as a quarterback, the more likely you are to try to run in the red zone, right? Yeah. What's the last thing that a young quarterback learns how to do? Throw a touchdown from 5 yards out. That is the hardest thing in football. Aaron Rodgers can do it. He's been doing it for 20 years. But younger quarterbacks have a hard time with it. Even the sainted Jalen Hurts is a big fan of the tush push because who wants to throw at the 2-yard line or the 1-yard line? So these guys get a lot of touchdowns.
I love Jay Daniels, and I love Dak makes a lot of sense. Only because at some point they got to get the CD Lamb contract fixed. So you got to figure that happens before the season, or else their season's just done. What else? Anybody else? Any of the rookies that you like? Is there guys that you're looking at?
I'm so happy you asked about the rookies because, yes, I like the rookies this year. I think I'm higher on some of the rookies than what your draft mates will be, which is another place where I'm effectively I end up with. I'll give you a couple names. Of course, Marvin Harrison, great top 12 pick right now. There's really no target competition on Arizona. There's nothing. There's no one else there. He's going to get all of the targets. There's a tight end on the team. So Marvin Harrison Jr. steps into WR1. Similarly, and I know you're going to hate this name, Malik Neighbors, New York Giants, is way underrated in terms of where he's currently going in drafts compared to where he should be going.
You're right.
What do the Giants do? They don't even have Saquon Barkley anymore. What's up, Eagles? Right? They don't have it. How bad is, Danny Jones is not that bad. He can deliver the football to a wide receiver that is good. So, I mean, you don't need a good quarterback.
He stinks.
He's not that good, but he's good enough to produce fantasy glory for Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is going way too late for a WR1. And then I'm going to give you a name you may or may not be thinking about. And this guy is my favorite of them all. Ladd McConkey.
Wow.
Wide receiver.
Ladd
McConkey. Okay. First of all, this kid's statistics are unbelievable. I don't want to say he is fast, shockingly fast for his size and makeup. Did not have the most productive college career, but there were some excuses for that.
Well, he had injuries. He was injured.
A lot of injuries, a lot of issues like that. But the talent is crazy good. He looks to be stepping into the Keenan Allen role in the Chargers offense. I don't buy that the Chargers are going to magically transform into an exclusively running team with Gus Edwards as the lead back. I'm sorry. Gus Edwards cannot carry any sort of a team.
Yeah, and you got a great quarterback.
And they have a great quarterback. This idea, there's this sort of thought going around that the Chargers are magically transformed. They're going to run and only run. And I get it. The coach and the offense coordinator love to run the football. But Ladd McConkey is looking like Puka Nacua 2.0.
Dude, I think he's right. What don't you like about McConkey?
Phil McConkey, one of my most hated Giants players ever. Okay, I can't get past it.
Okay, all right. Oh,
I'm out. I'm out on all McConkeys forever.
Okay, but he's right about the spot with the Chargers. And listen, Georgia was stocked. All right, they had a ridiculous tight end. They had two ridiculous backs. They had receivers galore. So his ball distribution was down because of that and the injuries. He's spot on with McConkey. I think that's a great pick.
Good luck with McConkey.
And just remind, who else do they have there? I like Palmer, the other kid, the other wide receiver over there. but he's been hurt a lot, and he plays a very specific role, a little more of a deep
He's
ball
down the
threat.
field. Yeah.
He's not a route runner.
Right.
McConkey's going to be in the slot. He's going to play the Keenan Allen role, and we might get. I'm telling you, Puka 2.0 is the comparison for me.
Yeah.
And I have him in every.
And you get him at the end. You get him at the end of the draft.
Yeah, he's later. I mean, he's moving. I don't even know because I always nab him so quick in every draft I'm in. I don't know where he might fall, but in general, that's a guy you want on your team this year, especially PPR. Think of what Keenan Allen carried teams last season.
I like that.
He's a young version of that. Let's hope he stays healthy. I don't know about any health issues, but assuming we get a healthy year out of him, I think he's going to smash. I think he's going to be Puka of 2024.
I like it. BG.
Yeah. Well, good luck.
All right.
Hey, what about our guys here? Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
Where does he slide in here? Where would you take him?
Jalen Hurts, I have him ranked as the #1 overall quarterback this year.
Wow.
So, when you look at overall rankings, some people have him ahead of Allen. Some people have him just behind Josh Allen. That he's going in the beginning or towards the end of round 3. So I will say this about Hurts. He definitely appeared to have a bit of a down year in 2023. I've heard there were some injury things that were happening, maybe a shoulder banged up for most of the year or something like that. So you do want to see a little bit of that bounce back to the 2022 form that he had. But I love Jalen Hurts. He runs tush push. I would actually ask you guys what your thoughts are on having brought in Saquon, and now will they use Hurts as often around the goal line, or is there some plan to try to keep him healthier by maybe using the running back? I'm curious there.
No, actually, I think he's going to be used more in the run game. The shoulder thing was accurate. He had a knee. He was banged up. He kind of scaled back out of the run game. I think the plan is to use him more in the run game. Now, Barkley is going to get a lot of touches, right? He'll throw the ball more. He never threw the ball to the backs, so he'll throw the ball more to Barkley under Kellen Moore. But yeah, look with that offense, again, their line is going to be as good. They're not going to take a huge hit, even though they lost Kelsey. So I mean, they should be potent, and he should have a good year.
I'm going to predict that we get a big bounce back year. Remember how after the Rams made the Super Bowl, they kind of had that mediocre year afterwards, and then they bounced back strong the next. I could see that happening with the Eagles this year, sort of that sort of reverberation, bounce back, really, really strong year for the Eagles offense in general. Another guy on the Eagles who I'm interested in is Devontae Smith, who, again, not the greatest fantasy season in 2023, probably a lot to do with sort of some of the shoulder issues and some of that with Hurts. Came on strong late in the season. So I still believe in the Slim Reaper.
Yeah, he's so underrated, actually.
Yeah. Hey, Geek, we were discussing Dallas Goedert earlier in the show. Where do you have him ranked in fantasy tight ends?
Goddard, I currently have him as my TE12. So he's just at the back end of the tight ends you want as kind of a first round or as a TE1, like a starter on your fantasy team. But Goddard is definitely not a priority tight end, meaning you could take him. He could be the last tight end taken if you're in a friends and family type draft. He's the last. So if you're waiting on tight end, he's that guy that's hanging out there alongside with names like Ferguson, Brock Bowers, and maybe David Njoku as sort of that third tier of tight end. Goddard has been more of a 4 to 6 target guy, and that just limits you in terms of where you're going to, how much you can score compared to maybe the McBrides, Kelseys, and Mark Andrews guy types who are more of 6 to 10 target tight ends. So Goddard in that second group absolutely broke slates. Even last year, I think there was a week where he put up 35 fantasy points, but for the most part, the scoring was kind of pedestrian, nothing special relative to the other tight ends.
Yep. I love it. All right, Geek. Tell us how to get a hold of you for the Sharp app. You got all kinds of stuff. And if people want any kind of fantasy advice, the whole thing, this begins the run, right? Like we'll have you on again before the season, and then you're going to be on every week.
Let's go. I love it. For anybody who has questions, fantasy football advice, who do I trade? Who do I sit? Who do I start? You can always hit me up at FFootballGeek on Twitter at Football Geek. And of course, right now at DFS Army, if you're into playing daily fantasy football, which is my forte, at DFS Army, we have code NFL 2024. We got a big discount for our season-long NFL packages, so check out dfsarmy.com. And Sharp app, of course, if you're into betting on sports at all, our focus on the Sharp app is props and our Proptimizer tool. So it's a spectacular tool to help you just bet on props. It takes our projection models, compares it to all the sports books, and kind of shows you the best place to go and where the edges are for player props.
Love it. Love it. Geek, it's great to have you back, buddy. It's August. Football's almost here.
Let's go. Love it. Thanks, guys.
Good stuff, Geek. There he is, Kevin Allen. Geek. Football, baby. It's August.
It's going to be 102 today.
I know. But we've the calendar. Flip the page, dude.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I told you, I saw it the other night at football practice where the sun's setting over the tree line.
Yes.
And it was 7 o'clock, and all of a sudden, the tree line, the sun was over it. That's how I read autumn in the future coming. All right. Get us with some nugs. As always, we love our VG's nugs.
All right, we'll do some quick Olympic stuff. Let's take a look at the medal table. U.S. doing okay. We should be at the tops. I have no idea what happened between 8 a.m. and now, but going into today, 30 medals for the U.S. Stomping on France, number 2 at 26.
How about France? The hometown France.
Yeah, they got a good showing.
Number 2 is impressive to me.
China's leading in gold medals.
Right.
Yeah, it's a cumulative thing here.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm shocked at France is 2.
I don't know what they're winning at. I don't know what they're good at, France. I really
They're getting all
don't.
the swimming medals.
Yeah, they've been rolling.
I mean,
in the
we've
pool.
been getting a lot of swimming ourselves.
Yeah, but they have that one dude, Leon Marchand or Marchand, whatever.
Yeah.
Marchand. Yeah.
Marchand.
Italian gymnast making waves out there. I don't know if she's that good at. I don't think she's getting medals. Well, we'll see. The individuals start today, I think, or tomorrow.
Okay.
Georgia Villa. Yeah, she's sponsored by a Parmesan cheese company. So all her posts are her with big wheels of Parmesan cheese.
That's fabulous. Look at that.
Look at that. I had a buddy, I was going over nugs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
That's a great picture.
I was going over the nugs with a buddy at the bar, and he said that she's sponsored by Big Parma.
Big Parma. That's fantastic. You ever see, I follow a lot of these chefs on Instagram and Twitter, and they take a wheel of cheese and they cut into it, and then they put the pasta.
Yes, I've seen this.
The wheel of cheese.
Yes, I've seen this.
And mix the oh
The
my
warm
God.
pasta.
Looks delicious.
Yes.
And it melts together
Yes.
for the it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're not against that? You like that?
What are you talking about?
I didn't know if that would be like something you wouldn't like.
They do that. They do that in Rome.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean? Not you would like it. That's what you're. That's how you're making the dish.
All right. I was just
Sometimes
curious.
they do a table side, I think.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. You like that. You love that. Come on, Skeeves.
I mean, it looks fantastic. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, man. Come on, bro.
This looked fantastic. There's a whole problem with could they swim in the Seine River? Some with the flooding water, some E. coli. They started swimming yesterday. Some triathlons.
Right.
Yeah. Here's a guy after he swam.
What color did he come out? Was he green?
Well, he wasn't green, but something might have been green. This guy wasn't feeling too well after he comes out of the river, and let's just say something happens.
Oh my God!
Now he's probably just exhausted, but it's perfect for him.
Oh my God! He comes out of that water and he just completely yaks. Oh man!
Well, there's like a
Leaning
bunch
up
of them
on
at the
the
finish
wall.
line. They all look like they're dying.
Did you ever happen to fall into the Schuylkill?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I've swam in the Delaware, which is pretty bad. but I haven't.
Dude, years ago, we had this like raft.
Yeah.
We had the great idea. Remember, Bob Means Jobs, right?
Yeah.
So we had this bright idea to get the raft. Boo's like, let's go. Let's
Raft
go.
in the Schuylkill.
Right. And of course, the boat capsizes, right? And we're swimming in the Schuylkill. And we go to the fountain right around the Parkway.
Yeah.
We went into the Parkway fountain
to wash
off because we were so disgusted. Like you left there and there was a film, a slime that we had after being in the Schuylkill.
I think the worst water I've ever been in was the Wissahickon. I went through there one time.
I don't know. Is that bad water? It can't be worse.
It feels like it's nice.
It's a creek, so I don't know.
Right. The creek is bad. Not like the Schuylkill.
I mean, the Schuylkill's gross.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm never going to put my foot in there or anything.
Yeah.
We had the women's rugby, USA women's last second touchdown.
Yes.
So more shout outs to women rugby. There's a catch. This catch. Look at her sky.
I'm a beast.
And her teammate
got it on my mind. See, I came here to
holds her
so
up.
let's get it on the grind. Yeah, I'm back with a vengeance, and I'm in it to win it. I'm going Popeye up in here. I muscle up.
That's
These
incredible.
rugby athletes are pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I have a new appreciation. I'm watching more rugby than I normally do.
Yeah.
Real appreciation.
It's a great
for
sport.
It. Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's a really good sport.
Badminton is fun. Like, you play it, but these people play it.
Well, they play it like it's a tennis sport.
Yeah, they smash the shuttlecock all over the place.
Yeah.
So there was a great rally, but the rally was better. Snoop's having a blast. He's popping all over the Olympics. So he did some commentary on this great badminton rally.
Oh, I love this badminton right here. This is a great rally right here between China and the U.S. right here. As you see, it don't stop to the casket drop. They rocking and rolling, back and forth. Give me that. No, I need that. Nope, over here. Nope, over there. What about over there? Nope, what about there? Nope, give me that. I need that. That too. Nope, sit down somewhere. Get out. Wait a minute.
Wow, look at that. That's an amazing ball.
Back up. Over there. Now over here. Get out the way. Move. I told
Get
you.
out the way. Get out the way. That's great.
Yeah, Snoop's having a blast. I'm going to give this one's for Tooch, too. This next nugget.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Snoop's handing out pins. He's got his own pins made up that he's handing out to athletes over there. And his branding team is genius.
Snoop pins.
They're genius. He's blowing Olympic rings of smoke.
Oh, my
on his
God.
pins.
That is a great pin. Yeah. Oh, my God. What do you think those pins are worth now in the market? Right. They're probably worth a Bitcoin.
His branding team is genius.
I love it. The colors.
That's
actually genius. That is genius. You're right. That's awesome.
We'll do one more quick one if we can. Katie Ledecky is like the Michael Jordan of swimming. She won this week, and that's the overhead shot. There's no other swimmer in the frame.
Oh my God!
In the frame, they went to like the all 22, so you could see where the other swimmers are behind her, dude.
Oh my God!
Just pure dominance.
That's outrageous.
What are they? They're training. They have the same training methods. It's unbelievable. And the bottom, look at the bottom. There's someone going the wrong way, like
that's
still trying to catch up.
And there were thoughts that she was cooked.
Yeah, man, she's a beast in the pool.
Beast.
Yeah,
absolute beast. Yeah. Oh my God, that's great stuff. VG's Nugs. Something we look forward to every day right here on the program. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. Everybody have a wonderful day. Now, again, easy.
Yeah.
It's not going to get better.
Take off. Go to a movie tonight. Get your brain off it.
Yeah, we got the Eagles. We got the open practice.
Yeah.
So you got that. You can enjoy that. But listen, I need you to be brave over the next road trip.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how it's going to turn out.
Just fine.
All right. So just keep it cool. Everybody, we love you. Have a wonderful day. And we'll see you tomorrow for Football Friday.
We all silly like the mayor.